So in the previous class, I had stopped at this slide about the fire detection and alarm system. This is the third type of detection system. So flammable gas detection. So in this type of flammable gas detectors are used to measure the amount of gas in the atmosphere compared with the reference value. Here with the reference value, that is the company that manufactures this particular type of detector has set a reference value that the device calibrates and tells whether the gas leak or the gas in the atmosphere is more than the reference value. When this exceeds, the gas supply valve activates. That is, it gives the alarm, and if required, the valve automatically it is activated. So these particular flammable gas detectors are used in mainly in industrial process that produces flammable gas vapors and which can burn when mixed. Now, most of these, if you see in what you call this oil and gas sector, this is more prominent, this type of gas detectors. But apart from that, you have this steel industry also, where the CCD, the coke oven department is there, where the coal is burnt. And some byproducts that is released, the hydrocarbon byproducts are released. There also you can see this type of flame detectors being installed. Then coming to heat detection system. In this, heat detection system can be used as a means of activating a mechanical controller or a sprinkler system. Now, this system is used in most of your malls, hospitals. You can see a type of flower on the ceiling. When the heat is detected, if it rises more than the reference value, then you can see that the sprinkler system is automatically activated over here. So the disadvantage of this particular thing is it can that the toxic smoke can be evolved from burning materials long before sufficient heat is generated to trigger the mechanism. Now this is the main problem, the heat detector system, unless and until the heat detector gets enough heat generated from the smoke that is evolved in the beginning of the fire, it cannot detect. Once the threshold limit is received, only then the system will be activated. By that time, one can expect what can happen. So one should not rely on this particular type of heat detection system. Then this system are rarely relied as a means of raising alarm. However, where fire rises little smoke, that means one should, why if heat detector system alone is installed and it is independent in the system, then one should not rely that it will give correct alarm when there is a fire. The reason we have already spoken previous point, that threshold limit of the smoke, when it rises, only then it gives the alarm. If not, it will not give. So here, for example, solvent fire, fixed temperature or rate of rise of heat detectors can be used. So mostly what it means is in the chemical industry, this can be used as one of the supplement system to other systems. So manual break glass type of fire alarms in most of the hospitals, schools and other parts, you must have seen this. Two types of system. This is more older system, the second one. And then this is the new one where you don't have, a breaking glass device. You can press. And in this particular device, even if you don't break the glass, or if the moment the glass breaks, automatically the system is activated. So manual brake type of fire alarm system in most of the workplaces, manually operated brake glass switches automatically operate when the alarm is raised. The moment the glass is broken, that's what we have spoken now. The moment you break the glass, automatically the alarm system is switched on. Then such alarm points are located at convenient positions so that no person need to travel more than 30 meters to reach. Now this is the standard for this fire alarm. 30 meters is the maximum that a person can travel and go for intimating the or activating the system. So here, this manual brake alarm system is mostly found in public buildings that can be manually operated. And you can see in most of the public buildings, the condition of these alarms, either they don't work or the glass is broken or the hammer is missing. So you cannot trust those things. Then this allows the occupier to swiftly investigate whether there is a fire situation and prepare to train personnel to assist the evacuation. So as we have seen in evacuation techniques, that the fire drill is mandatory, then the ERP team is mandatory. If it is multi-floor mall system, then you need to have different teams in different floors with the team A and team B. So that when the fire is raised, the evacuation method can be started. So this already, the fire alarm inspection procedure. Put the fire alarm system on the test if it is externally monitored or internally monitored also. This is what we say the mock drill. So before you put on the fire alarm system on test, you need to notify all the departments that it is a routine check or routine maintenance to check the feasibility of the system. Then activate one of the fire alarm call points, confirm the operation of alarm sounders and other connected equipment such as magnetic door holders. Now, this is one of the problems in the airport. People who are traveling at airports can see some of the emergency gates. They have, digital locking mechanism where only the personnel who belong to the airport area or the employees only can open that. So such things should not be actually put, but they are putting it that particular, some of the entrance and exits. Then once your drill is finished or checking is finished or maintenance, after that again you're checking that, reset the call points, reset the fire alarm panel, take the fire alarm panel system off test if monitor. Now here we'll see what are the building codes in India that we have. The codes and rules and regulations that we follow is BNBC 2006, that is for old building. BNBC 2020, proposed newly constructed building. Fire Act 2003, Fire Rules 2014, and NFPA 72, that is the overseas standard. So if you have any comments or questions or anything to discuss with your fellow participant, you can do for anyone, any doubts, any discussion that you need to discuss with your friends. You're welcome. Any questions?
Alhamdulillah. क्या कर रहे हैं?
Okay, then I'll go for the next topic. Thank you. If you don't have, then I'll go for the next topic. So this is pneumoconiasis. This is in your IS 106 paper. So definition of pneumoconiasis. What is this pneumoconiasis? It is an occupational lung disease and restrictive lung disease caused by inhalation of the dust. So this is what pneumo means your lungs. Pneumonia, what we say pneumonia or disease that is more profound in kids and less profound in the adults. When the doctor says pneumonia, that means it is related to the lungs. The same way pneumoconiasis is the disease, is the occupational lung disease, and it is a restricted lung disease caused by inhalation of the dust. Restricted lung disease because only this is to the person who are exposed for longer duration of time and the same occupation is carried again and again. And this inhalation of the dust can be different types of dust. It need not be your sand or any mineral that is coming into metal industry for refining or producing or anything of that sort. So we'll see this in other slides. What this type of pneumoconiasis? What is the what you call different types of diseases that is there? Then the term pneumoconiasis comes from the Greek pneumo, meaning the lungs, and coniasis, meaning the dust. So this is the what you call aggregation or amalgamation of Greek and Greek words that means your lungs, and coniasis means the dust. So pneumoconiasis is the dust or related occupational disease with the lungs. So the term is usually taken from either fibrosis of lung due to accumulation of dust or of organic or inorganic matter. Yeah, we'll see the Mr. Dilipka. Yeah, you're right. Silica dust is very dangerous. But not only from this, there are all different types of dust that is causing different types of pneumoconiasis that I'll be showing you in due course of this slide. So here, now the dust that is accumulated, this can be both inorganic or organic type. So dust, how do you define dust? Is a material that is reduced to fine particles by various natural or artificial means, such as grinding or crushing. So this was what it means. The people who are having an occupation in such industries where either what you call grinding, crushing, or ore is being handled, to those people who are exposed to this type of dust, they are more prone to this type of diseases. So fiber. Now here in the slide, previous slide, we have told that dust oil is the main cause of this pneumoconiasis. But in due course of our slides that we are going to see, fibers are also causing factor for this pneumoconiasis. Now, there are different types of fibers that causes different types of disease. We will see. So, fiber is defined as any particle, the length of which exceeds the diameter by 10 times or more. So, this is the definition of the fiber. So, the length should be more than 10 times its diameter. Only then you can grade it as fiber. Then epidemiology. So this epidemiology is the study of the disease over the globe. Currently, global workforce is about 2.6 billion and it is growing continuously. So about 40 million new jobs are getting every day new jobs. About of these, 75% of these new jobs are in developing nations. So developing nations are all the third world nations like India and its Asian countries, whatever you have, which have very poor occupational health services. This is very true when it comes to India. Poor governmental policies, of course, because most of the politicians own the industries. So they are also in the parliament. So they don't frame the laws as such that it will increase their budget. So the laws are framed as such. Yeah, Mr. Vijayakant, I told it is IS 106 paper. That is the course content number, IS 106. Then it is estimated then 2.6 million US workers have been exposed to crystalline silica or asbestosis during mining or non-mining industries. Now this is the data that is taken from United States, but if you come to India, it's more because you see that organized industries, you take the best organized industries also. When it comes to temporary or the construction worker, the condition of those people who are working in these kind of industries is very less. And for the unorganized sector like construction industries and other things, it's all very poor. So obviously the rate of such epidemiology in India will be more than as compared to the developed nations. So here, the exact magnitude of occupational disease is not known. The reason because the data is not sent to the government. You take any industry, if there are certain things, the management asks the HSE person, the safety person to suppress certain facts and is bound to do so because, and some of the data is not released to the public. So exact occupational number of occupational disease people who are there, it cannot be estimated, especially the lung disease of which pneumoconiasis is the chief. Now, the reason for this is some of the pneumoconiasis lung disease, it takes long time to get exposed. In short term, it may not be exposed. The person may be looking healthy, but in due course of time, as and when he starts aging and he continues to occupy the same occupation, in the older day age, you can see that it starts reflecting, the disease starts coming out. So this is one of the reason. The reason can be symptomless. This is what I was telling. In early stage, it's very difficult to detect. Late diagnosis, even if some person comes to know that he is suffering from this kind of disease, lung diseases, he may not afford that particular what we call diagnosis, or it may diagnostic center may not have enough professions, professional people to identify that this is a occupational disease mimicking other lung pathology. This is one of the biggest problem for pneumoconiasis, because in the slides I'll show you some of the original lungs photographs that is taken from the patients. You can see that some pneumoconiasis lungs are black. It is equivalent to the people who smoke continuously for years. So depending upon that, one cannot identify that this is an occupational disease or it is from his smoking. So such mimicking, it is very difficult for a pathologist to understand really what is the cause of this disease. The employers cover up. This is the major problem world over. It's not only in India or third world countries. World over, this is the biggest problem. The employers do not provide enough welfare facilities or PPEs to the employees, but they do not even divulge the exact data to the other people. Lack of government policies, of course, as in previous slide I was telling that the government policies, the people who are sitting in the policy making house of any country, most of these industries are operated by people of their relation or the people who are having the political background. So they don't release any data to the outside world that can be, aggregated. So now classification of pneumoconiosis. How do we classify this? One is silicosis. Silica is the sand. So silicosis is pneumoconiasis caused by inhalation of dust that is composed of free silicon dioxide, SiO2. This is the pure sand form. Then silicatosis is again caused by inhalation of mineral dust, which can include silicon, that is, and other elements such as magnesium, aluminum, iron, or calcium. Apart from this, you have other fibers like asbestosis, talcosis. All we'll see in the coming slides. So two categories of pneumoconiosis. One is based on the silica, or the second one is based on the derivatives of silica. So metal coniosis, again, this is the very word it shows. Metal coniosis is caused by inhalation of metal dust, such as iron, aluminum, barium, magnesium. Then here again he has divided into siderosis, aluminosis, and barytosis. These are different types of disease caused by different types of metals. So inhalation of metal dust particle also creates a metal coniosis. Then carbonoconiosis. This is the disease caused by inhalation of the dust composed by carbonaceous dust. Carbonaceous dust can be your wood or anything. Coke, graphite, soot, and anthracite coal. So this is mostly prominent in the coal mine region of the industry. Then again, you have the classification and further divided. In pneumoconiasis can be caused by dust or mixed dust. That is anthrocosilicosis or siderosilicosis. So this anthrocosilicosis is both your dust disease caused by the coke or coal and even the sand. So pneumoconiosis is caused by an organic dust. That is what you call the farmer's lung disease. So biciniosis, we'll see corn pneumoconiasis is related to the corn fields. Now, classification of pneumoconiasis depending upon the character, form, size, and contours of opacity on röntgenogram. That is your it's like X-ray. So classification is nodular, intestinal, diffuse, or nodal. So these are different types of classification, whether it can form on nodules or it can be independent or it can diffuse into the intestine or other parts of the body. Then according to the degree of expressiveness of clinical and rheumatogenic manifestations, that is, or depending upon the pathological investigation, this classification of pneumoconiasis is under 3 stages. Stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3.
Coniosis. Pneumoconiosis. Pneumoconiosis.
Now, silicosis is grinder's disease. Grinder's disease, most of us are well versed with the angle grinder that is used for grinding different types of jobs in the industry. Among the occupational lung disease, this is the major cause of permanent disability and mortality. That is why, safety person keeps on insisting the grinders, but they don't listen. And this silicosis or grinder's disease can either permanently disable him or it can also cause the death. If it was found that out of the incubation period may vary from few months to 6 years. Now, this incubation period is the day he is starting inhaling this dust to the time when this comes out as a disease. This period from inhalation to observing of the disease is called the incubation period. For example, if a person is infected, like, previous disease, the epidemiologic disease, if we take the coronavirus disease, from the day the person has inhaled the virus to the day when he starts expressing like fever, cough, and cold, this period from the day of infection to coming the expressing the what you call the symptoms, this period is called incubation period. So for this grinders disease, it can vary from person to person. That may be a few months to a few years, up to 6 years. Then what are the causes? The causes is free silica dust or silicon dioxide inhaled, either in crystalline or amorphous form. Any form it can be, either as a crystalline or it can be as a amorphous. That is the dust form. The commonest crystalline form is the quartz. So occupational, your exposure, the people who are exposed for this is from the mining, enameling, grinding, and sandblasting and quarries industries. So the next one, so here the pathological pathology, that is how do you identify this? The histologic lesion is the silicotic nodule ranging from 0.32. This is not required for you. The pathology, this is only for information. That if you take the lungs section and observe under microscope, in the lungs you can find fine silica nodules in the lungs. That is ranging from 3 to 4 mm in the diameter. These nodules are caused by death of macrophages containing silica particles. That is, macrophages or the microphages are the white blood cells, a type of white blood cells that when it encounters this silica dust, it takes up the silica particles and it dies into the lungs. So this again you can see as a nodule. With the release of silica and intercellular enzyme causing more and more fibrosis. So when this, what you call the white blood cell that takes up, the phages that takes up and it dies, it also releases a type of enzymes that causes the fibrosis. Now, symptoms. This is clinical features. That is the symptoms. How a person, you can see him. Maybe symptomless initially. We may not know that he is infected or he is developing this occupational health disease, that is silicosis. Then irritant cough. Frequently he may be coughing, because of this silica dust. Dyspnea on exertion, chest pain. Cyanosis, again I told, it is blackening of your lips, fingernails, then palms, slightly it starts becoming blue in color. Then pulmonary hypertension, difficulty in breathing. Radiological findings you don't need. So this is the X-ray. This is a participant. Some of I'll show you the slides that are originally taken from the dead people. That is just to show you how it looks. So this is the X-ray of the person who is infected with the silicosis. Then common complication, that is in due course of time, in long time, how does this silicosis impact the secondary diseases? Now it can be tuberculosis because of the silicosis. The secondary disease can be tuberculosis, chronic bronchitis, pulmonale, then pleural effusion, and Kaplan syndrome. These are some of the medical terms that are being used to describe the secondary disease that may be caused. And how do we control this silicosis? Control method. The best thing is prevention is better than the cure. Same policy over here. The control is best by prevention, as there is no treatment for this. So remember all of this pneumoconiosis, what we are going to see in this study. Most of them or almost all of them do not have any disease except for the long struggle death. So here, provide them proper PPEs, train them how to use, continuous monitor them to use the PPEs, required job-related PPEs. Then rigorous dust control measures. For example, what we have told the PPEs, other mechanical filters, they with oxygen substitution or hydroblasting. Hydroblasting is fine, what you call water is, it is spraying of the water. Then regular physical examination of the workers. Like here in Visakhapatnam steel plant, you have occupational, what you call dispensary over here. The people who are handling the raw material or from the coke oven department, they are frequently checked by this department for their physical health. Then silicatosis. Silicatosis we have seen in the classification. One is because of the silica, and the silica, that is silicosis. Silicatosis is the derivatives of silica. It may be with different types of minerals that the metals in the industry uses. So one of them is asbestosis. Asbestosis is defined as fibrosis of the lung caused by asbestos dust. Asbestos does cause other diseases which together with asbestos is termed as asbestos related diseases. So here in India, asbestos is now not much used except in some industries. But in previous years, in years, you could have seen that even the what you call the roof of some of the houses, they were providing with asbestos sheet because it was more economical for the people to afford. But now it has been replaced by other sources. So asbestos are silicates of varying composition. We'll see what the composition is. The silica is combined with such a base as magnesium, iron, calcium, sodium, and aluminum. So this asbestos, depending upon the chemical composition, can vary in its properties. So asbestos has a unique combination of several properties. So the reason why still some of the industries are using this because it is heat and heat, acid, and fire resistant. This is the biggest cause why there are still some industries that is using this. Then it is very light, ductile, and malleable. It can withstand a lot of weight. So these are the properties that make the asbestos to be used, to be continued, to be used in the industry. Now, there are two types of main asbestos, that is chrysolite and amphiboles. The chrysolite, that is the white type of asbestos, is a pure magnesium silicate, whereas amphiboles that contain varying amount of minerals such as iron and calcium. So these are the most common types of what you call the asbestos. Among these, again, if you see the amphiboles, the most common varieties of amphiboles are crocodolite, that is blue asbestos, amosite, that is brown asbestos, and other times can be anthophyllite or tremolite or actinolite. So these are different types of amphibole type of asbestos that is commonly occurring. Now, what is the cause of this asbestosis disease? The main disease causing is the asbestos dust. Now, the occupational exposure, which industry people are more exposed to this one? The shipbuilding industry, motor gaskets, and locomotive brake pads. Still, brake pads, if you see for the vehicles, it is made up of the same asbestos material. So, the pathology, no need of that. Now, clinical features. What are the clinical, that is symptoms that the person shows for this asbestosis? One is asymptomatic in mild causes, that is in initial stages when a person is less exposed or he's working in industry and is not frequently exposed to this asbestos dust, then he may not develop the symptoms, that is asymptomatic. Then increasing dysphonia, finger clubbing, cyanosis, right heart failure, and final basal crepitations. So here you can see this is the X-ray of the person. You can see here lot of the asbestos has been deposited over here. Also you can see a bit less quantity over here, but this right side of the lung you can see lot of asbestos is accumulated. Now diagnosis, what you can do? Occupational history has to be taken of the person, like in which area of the work he is executing his job, how many years he has been using, what are the PPEs he is using, and other things. Signs and symptoms, these depend upon his age, duration. Radiological findings, in previous radiological findings is the X-ray, one of the method of finding. Decreased total lung capacity, vital capacity, and reduced volume. So apart from the radiological, the X-ray, and pathological findings, how we can detect is if the lung capacity of taking the air decreases, that means the residual volume that is within his lungs to take up the air also decreases. So by that, you can at least guess that this person may be having this asbestosis, the disease. So complication, that is in due course of time, as and when he is exposed repeatedly over a period of time, over years, in later age or in later his old age, what he can develop the secondary complications or the diseases. These can be lung cancer, mesothelioma of the pleural and peritoneum. Now, these pleural and peritoneum are the lung, what you call lining of thin membranes on the lungs. Then core pulmonary and pleural effusion, Kaplan syndrome. So these are different types of complications that that particular person shows. So how do we control asbestosis? There is no cure, as we have already talked. Primary key is the prevention, the best method. Pre-employment checkup is mandatory for such industries. Periodic medical examination for workers is also mandatory. Then dust control measures, whatever you can go for, like dust LEVs or spraying of water, that is hydroblasting technique, whatever it is applicable. Many countries have adopted a permissible limit of exposure to airborne concentration of asbestos.